everyone, and welcome to another episode of my Woman Who Inspires series. My name is Sreshtha. I am the director of the Self-Worth Leadership and Empowerment Consultancy. I am also a motivational speaker and a wholeness guide. Ultimately, I just want to do my part to fight for mental freedom for women. In this series, we talk about our so-called perceived negative emotions and how those emotions really push us to a better place in our life. So today I have a very special guest with me. Her name is Lisa Canning. Lisa is the author of the book, The Possibility Mom, and she is also a coach. She owns her own business named The Possibility Mom, LLC. Lisa, welcome to our series. How are you today?
Wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. I am joined by my little baby who is happily hanging out here with us as well. So you might hear him chime in this interview, but I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, that's fine. Lisa is a mom of 9. Is that correct?
That's right. You got it. A mom of 9.
A mom of 9. Talk about the possibility mom. So, Lisa, thanks again so much. So Lisa is also a certified mindset coach. So you all know I'm totally into changing our mindset around the baby view things. And that really helps us live a much happier life. So I'm excited to hear Lisa's story. So Lisa, I'm going to ask you to share an experience where you had some of these negative emotions and what came out of that experience.
You know, I'll be honest with you, as an entrepreneur and mom of 9, I have these negative experiences every day. Honestly, I don't know if I can narrow it down to one, but if you were to really press me, I would say that the process of building a business comes with so much emotion for me around failure. So just the other day, I was talking with my mindset coach, Erin, and just to be frank, processing some pretty serious thoughts around fear of failure. And so, you know, I could to pinpoint it to one isolated thing, really, anytime I try to build something new in my business, whether it be a new webinar, whether it be a new product, I experience an extreme fear of failure. And it's been an interesting thing for me to journey with. Like, I now run a multi-6-figure business, but of course this wasn't always the case, right? Like I started out making, you know, just like one client at a time, like so many people can relate to. But even though I have evidence in my brain and in my lived experience that I have, you know, triumphed, I have found an ideal client, I have been able to find new ones and all that jazz that comes with it, I still have crushing fear of failure. And so I guess what I really want to share today is that it really doesn't matter how high you climb. If you don't have a healthy relationship with your thoughts, the drama only gets bigger because you're dealing with bigger numbers, you're dealing with more people. The drama truly only gets bigger. And so what I would say, I'm still in it. I would say that I am still in these dramatic moments of negative emotions and having to work through it. And what I would say has been the biggest help to me is expecting failure. And I know this might sound funny, but that has been truly the biggest gift. What my coach has really been working with me on is, instead of being annoyed when I feel bad. So for example, I'm launching right now a series of webinars for a new group coaching experience that I've just started. And honestly, it doesn't matter how many times I practiced. The first webinar I didn't hit publish on the button that makes the actual offer come up. And so, oh my gosh, Shri, I spoke for 30 minutes without anybody able to click to buy. And I kept asking, hey, can you guys let me know if you can see the link? Nobody was telling me. And then 30 minutes went by talking about the product. And I was like, oh, wow, that's weird. I guess nobody's interested. Everybody's told me at the end, oh yeah, I can't find the link. Anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, that happened today. I didn't share the slides correctly. So my point is that the me in the past would have given myself so much shame. oh, you should have practiced. You should have given yourself more time. You're never going to make it as a, 7-figure entrepreneur, all kinds of shame. And if I'm being honest, I still go to that place of shame. But what's very different about now compared to before is that I expect it. So I literally I say to myself, oh yeah, you're doing that thing again that you're really good at doing, shaming and blaming yourself for something that's actually really not that big a deal. And so what I have observed the most in me as a result of coaching, which I know you'll appreciate, is just the drama, the amount of drama and the length of time I put myself through drama is significantly reduced. So for me, the evolution of becoming just a different level of entrepreneur, dealing with a fear of failure and expecting it instead of just shaming myself has been the biggest transformation in this area.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Dealing with a fear of failure. So, depending on how you are conditioned, you always believe certain things about yourself that go way back, way, way, way back. But how you have decided to work with it is to expect it and basically learn. So it's basically like lessons learned. I guess if you say it in my language, we would say that it's okay to stumble. It's okay to fall. Once you learn the lesson and you pick back up, it's not a mistake because they actually learn more when you fail, as in your words, as opposed to when everything is going smoothly. You actually learn more. So it's very interesting because so many women from how we grew up, we have that expectation, whatever we are doing, and you are doing, wow, a mom of 9 and a 6-figure business. That is so amazing. But knowing that just like everybody else, these fears always prop in whatever you do. You have some fear about something. You always question your worth because, of course, we are human. And the way you have dealt with it is learning to expect it and knowing how to move through it as opposed to sitting in it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you, so these experiences that you have, so this fear that you have, has this helped you in building your business? And if so, how?
It's interesting because there is a certain resiliency that comes when we deal with failure, right? And so, you publish a sales page and it has a typo in it and you realize, oh, I survived. I had a typo. Or you do a webinar and you forget to share the slides. And again, it feels terrible, but you survive. But it's interesting when it's so much deeper than that. Like when the thing that you're protecting is actually who you are. And I really want people to just sit with that. Because again, typos, little technical glitches, many people can say, oh yeah, that's such a it's a good lesson that we've learned. But when you're afraid of being exposed, when the fear is so much deeper, it's a very interesting place to explore because that's where I think really people get held back. I see this in myself. I see this in the clients that I coach in business. When it's something very at the core of who you are that you are afraid is going to be exposed, that's when the fear, I think, is obviously very problematic. And this requires so much work, so much work. And it really comes down to this message of, what are we making failure mean about us at its very core? So I'm going to answer your question. Sometimes I think the fear is great because there's resiliency. You're onto something correct when you feel that fear. But if we don't work through it, if we don't seek coaching, if we don't do the inner work and inner healing of making failure not mean something about us, I actually think it will keep us in the same spot and not really get us to the bigger goal or the bigger potential that we are very likely called to reach.
Yeah, that is so true. Owning that failure is a big part of how you move through that failure and being resilient. So like for me, growing up as a perfectionist and expecting to have 100 on every single test in my adult life, that was the expectation going into work, which is completely different to a test. And then, as you spoke about, when you start to get into social media and you put out something with a typo, to me it was calamitous. But of course, now being older, I know it isn't. And you begin to learn what things, know when to push, know when to pivot, and know when to let go. That's what we say in work, because you know what you can let go, what is not going to make any difference other than somebody notice, hey, she's human and she have a typo in that, and what you need to really learn from and build your resilience with. So, Lisa, I want to ask you one more thing. Given all of your experience now, building this business and understanding how to process your emotions through it, is there anything you would tell women out there going through a similar thing to you, or what would you tell your younger self?
Yeah, to not fight it. I think, again, this is sort of, it's strange to talk about because we're talking about very deep fears. And the thing is that I think most people are not even aware that they're afraid of something, afraid of being exposed, afraid of not being accepted, afraid of pretty deep things. And so I would say to my younger self, not to fight it, and that actually doing this work is what is going to get you to where you want to go with a lot more joy, a lot more freedom. It's been interesting because I'm in a season of a newborn, right? The baby in my arms is 6 weeks old. And it's been interesting. My coach was helping reflect on, you love your baby. And I was like, yeah, duh. Clearly I love my baby. And, she was like, but he probably does things that are kind of inconvenient, right? Like he poops on you, he throws up on you. And I was like, yeah. I see what you're saying. And I was telling her about my business and some of the struggles that I was having and how, the language all I was using was like, I have to, this needs to work, this, that, the other. And she just, it was so interesting. And I've been reflecting on it so much. She posited, what if you loved your business the exact same way you love your baby? And sometimes inconvenient things happen. Sometimes things happen that are, just outright annoying or inconvenient or challenging, but you react out of love. When my baby throws up on me, I might be inconvenienced, certainly. And I might be like, oh, I have to go change my shirt. But I know that this is just how my baby behaves at this stage of development. And I think it's a really interesting analogy. The more I've been thinking about it and reflecting on it, anything that you're working on, whether you're an entrepreneur or you have a project that you want to work on, if you're trying to be a mother who doesn't yell as much, whatever it is that you're trying to work on in your life, what if you loved the pursuit of that goal the exact same way moms love their infants? And so when something does happen where you are inconvenienced or challenged, or you want to call it a bump in the road, whatever you want to call it, instead of being annoyed, what if we just were like, oh, that happened. It's expected of where we are. And I'm going to respond in love. P.S. I'm saying this to myself because I can hear my familiar banter in my head. And I think that's the other thing I would say to myself, and I would say to anybody, is no one is a lost cause. I think, there's probably a lot of people who, like you and I, who are listening to this, aim high, who might have perfectionist tendencies as well. And I just know one of the things that I have to still learn, but still comes up in me, is this sort of notion of like, you're always going to be this way, like this, just despair. Well, it's always going to be like this way. So just everybody deal, but nobody is a lost cause. For those of you who are Christian like me and believe that you have a savior that is full of mercy, like it is available to all a tenderness and a mercy that we must extend to ourselves. And when you think about it, so much of our thoughts are the linchpin or the catapult, the pivot to that. You can stay in this place of shame, blame, and guilt. But what if you could not? Like, what if truly you could go through all the exact same things, the challenges, the inconveniences, the failures, the hardships. But instead of it being shame, blame, and guilt, it's actually understanding, mercy, forgiveness, and compassion. So that's what I would say to my younger self. Like, just take a seat there, Lisa. You're just simmer down now. You're going to be completely fine. And to just extend mercy and forgiveness to yourself.
Yeah, that is such a powerful message. First of all, the mind shift, even for me, and on how to look at your business when something happens being a mom, and even how you look at yourself, because again, when we are born, we are born with worth, but then our worth is shaped by our environment, and we start to believe certain things, and we take that in to our adulthood. And this is what forms the feelings and the behaviors around your success in life. But it is really powerful and amazing, an amazing way to look at it, whatever it is you are doing, because really, as mothers, our babies, we love on them, and whatever they do to us, we really don't, especially when they're young. It's never a bother, and you lose sleep just making sure they're okay. So it is really powerful to apply that to whatever endeavor you're doing. I mean, we're talking about business, but it could be anything that you are doing, even academics or studying, whatever it is you're pursuing. So Lisa, I really want to thank you so much for coming on the series in this month of a woman. You are definitely a woman who inspires, a mom who inspires, a possibility mom. Your book is available on Amazon, so y'all could check her out. And I will have her information in the description box below, along with how you can contact her. If anything she said resonated with you, feel free to contact her. So this is Sreshtha Tiwari for the Woman Who Inspires series, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.